Hey drummers, it's Rob Litton here from drumstheword.com. Welcome to this full video song lesson for free, where today I'm going to show you how to play the song It's the End of the World as We Know It by R.E.M, drummed by Bill Berry. What I've got for you are the full 5 pages of the song fully transcribed for you in PDF form. You can download this PDF from my website. You'll find the link beneath this video. So have this printed out in front of you as we go through this together. This song was requested over on my Facebook page, and so if you want to make your own song suggestions, then please go over there to do so. Again, you'll find a link to my Facebook page beneath this video. So 207 BPM, it's a fast song. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the song starts with Bill on the drums with this really cool snare drum intro. It comes in on beat 4. So when you're hearing the diddle-la, diddle-la, understand that first set of 16th notes is not beat 1, but beat 4 of the bar previously. 1, 2, 3, 4, E and a 1. It's just simply that, right, left, right. But you end each of those grouping of 5 notes, 4, E and a 1, because it goes into the next beat, with the bass drum. And then hit your 6 like that. So if I count it out loud, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 E and a 1 and 2 E and a 3 and 4 E and a 1 and 2 E and a 3 and 4 and. But of course it's much faster than that. It gets really hard to try and count it up to speed. But if I just slowly speed it up a little bit, make sure you come in on beat 4. 1, 2, 3. Bit faster. 1, 2, 3. That's getting closer to the actual tempo, and I'll play it up to speed for you in a moment. But that's all it is. Make sure you come in on beat 4 and it ends with that single snare drum on beat 4 at the end of the 4 bars, or 3 bars in this case. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and we're into our first groove. Verse 1, as I've called it. And we're on the loose hi-hat, and Bill keeps it really simple for the main parts of this song. Just simply playing a standard rock beat, basic drum beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. Simple as that, but of course up to speed. Simple as that. We get 16 bars of just that one drum beat. Notice the crash cymbal at the beginning of the verse, verse 1. Before I go into bridge 1, let me just play for you that intro into the first verse. And then it goes on for 16 more bars. So then we go on to bridge 1, staying on the loose hi-hat, and Bill starts to introduce some extra bass drum notes on beat 3, or the and of beat 3. We get from this drum beat, 1, 2, 3, 4, to this drum beat, 1, 2, 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now if you want to have a go at this song and you're finding the bass drums, 3 and 2 bass drums next to each other, quite hard up to speed, and it is, then whenever you get the 2 bass drum notes, feel free just to continue to play. It won't sound the same, but that'll work and that'll get you through the song at least. So basically what I'm saying is replace any of the 3 ands with just a single bass drum on 3 if you find playing those 2 bass drums next to each other quite difficult up to speed. But what he plays here for the bridge 1, and then the 4th bar the same, but he ends it with a snare and crash on beat 4. And we get 1 into the next bar, the next verse. So it's got a snare and crash on beat 4, the last bar of the bridge, 4 and 1, and then I use a different crash cymbal just because it sounds cooler. But you could use the same crash cymbal if you've only got 1 crash, it doesn't matter. And then we're into verse 2. So before we go into that, let me now play for you the intro, verse 1 and bridge 1, up to speed without the microphone on so you can hear just the drums. So into verse 2, and it's just 16 bars more of this. So then we go into bridge 2, And the same idea is being used again with the two bass drums on beat 3. But then for beat 4, he plays this drum fill which he repeats throughout the song. It's the first time he does it. The bar is 1, 2, 3 and 4 and. From beat 3, come down from the hi-hat, 3 and 4 and. But it's very subtle, and I was lucky enough to find an isolated drum track for this song. Actually what Bill's doing is he plays a bass drum on beat 4 as well. 3 and 4 and. You can leave out the bass drum on beat 4, no one's going to miss it, but it's there on the recording, so I thought I'd include it. It's also quite cool. So that line, bridge 2, 1, 2, 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 3 and 4 and 1, into the next page, into chorus 1, our first chorus. So now Bill goes up to the ride cymbal for the choruses, and the basic drum beats is this, 1, 2, 3 and 4, 1, 2. So the same as we had on the hi-hat, just up here on the ride cymbal instead. But every fourth bar, with the rest of the band, he throws in this little syncopated bass drum part. So look at the fourth bar there. He plays the bass drums on the and of 2 and the and of 3, in between the right hand on the ride cymbal. 1, 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So those bass drums are on the ands in between the ride cymbal. So you might want to make a 2-bar loop just to get comfortable going from into. Let's do that. Let's create a 2-bar loop. And then try to get up to speed. So that's what goes on in the fourth bar there. Then the next 4 bars just basically the same as the first. We start with the crash cymbal. And bar 4 has the 1, 2 and 3 and 4 again. Down to the next line, which is only 4 bars long. It's just all 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But then into the third line of chorus 1, and we get introduced to this new section where Bill uses the floor tom. Now, what I've written here is you can see the snare drum on beat 2. Let's take a look at the first bar, for example. It's not played with the floor tom. On the recording, I am hearing the floor tom being played with the snare drum, but because of the way you'd have to play, and even then you'd miss out the floor tom as you move over to the snare drum. I don't think Bill played this. He could have, but if you listen to the recording, and again I found an isolated track, the floor tom notes are really even, like he's playing them single stroke. So that makes me think that the toms were probably overdubbed. I might be wrong on that, but if you wanted to play the floor tom on snare drum, floor tom with the snare drum on beat 2, then you could. But I noticed Bill doesn't even try to play this section live back in the day. He'd just stay on the ride cymbal. So I don't think he was able to play that comfortably at this tempo. Again, I might be wrong. So what I've got for you here is what I would play, and no one's going to hear the difference. You just leave out the floor tom on beat 2, just to give your right hand just a bit of a break. So the pattern I've got for you here, without the bass drum underneath, is 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. So notice there's no floor tom on the and of beat 3. Instead, we get the extra bass drum note coming in. So he's maintaining the 1, 2, 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4. And that bass drum on the and of 3 fills in the gap that your right hand leaves out. That's what he's playing on the recording, apart from, like I said, that floor tom and snare drum together on beat 2, making me think that it's probably overdubbed. But you could play, like I said, I've already mentioned that. So what I've got for you is what I would play. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Notice the floor tom and snare drum comes down on beat 4. want to play, as you hear on the recording, exactly. So it's not that hard, it's just I don't think Bill played that. Again, I've mentioned that enough times. So you've got the two options, just be aware of that. So that one bar pattern gets repeated for bars 1, 2 and 3, but then bar 4, he breaks up a little bit and he plays 1, 2, 3 and. So just simply right, 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 1, 2, 3 and, but that's still that bass drum on the and of 3, 3 and into a snare and crash on beat 4, 4 into a second crash on beat 1 of the next bar. So those 4 bars slowly, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4, 1. A bit faster than up to speed. And now let's go back to page 1. I'm going to start from bridge 2 at the bottom of the page, play all the way through chorus 1 into a little bit of verse 3, up to speed. Here we go. So verse 3 is just simply 16 more bars of our basic drum beats. Into bridge 3, which is in structure exactly the same as bridge 2. It's this. Exactly the same drum fill at the end. Into chorus 2. So bridge 3 we've already covered with bridge 2. Chorus 2 is very similar to the previous choruses, except for that bar 4 where he starts to change things up a little bit. Really cool idea, this. So for bar 4, you notice I've written 1 and 2 and. The reason there's no right cymbal on 2, as Bill plays, or doesn't play, this bar is what you hear on the recording, is to give your right hand time to move to a crash cymbal on the and of beat 2 straight after that snare drum. 1, 2 ands, 1, 2 ands. He then floats right hand in the air and we just play the bass drum when it's on the and of 3 and 4 comes down with the snare drum and crash on beat 4. So the bass drum is still playing that pattern we had previously, 1, 2 and 3 and 4, but we're just moving to the crash cymbal for the and of beat 2, 1, 2 and 3 and 4, 1, 2 and 3 and 4. At a slow speed it doesn't really make sense, but when you speed it up you'll see that missing out the right cymbal on beat 2 and beat 3 allows it to flow. So let's make a 2-bar loop again, bars 3 and 4 for example. See that it starts to flow a little bit better when you speed it up. And also notice when we go into bar 5 there, the next 4 bars, it starts with a crash cymbal on beat 1. So we actually get, and you could use a different crash if you wanted to. The next 4 bars are our basic chorus structure again, with the 4th bar being, so he doesn't do that crash cymbal on the and of 2 every time. The next line, we just go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But the 4th bar, it's very quiet on the mix, but again I was able to find it on the isolated drum track. He actually plays 1, 2, 3 and 4 ands. 1, 2, 3 and 4 ands. So he does this a few times in the song as well, playing 2 snare drum notes on beat 4. If you find that too difficult, leave out the snare drum on the and of 2, at the and of 4. No one's going to miss it, but it's there on the recording. So onto page 3, and we've got this bridge. And this is cool because Bill mixes up the pattern he was playing with the floor tom quite a bit. So we've got the first line where we've got a new pattern. He plays 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1. Again, I discussed it earlier on. I left out the floor tom this time on beat 4 to give your right hand a chance to play this up to speed. If you wanted to play the floor tom with beat 4, that's absolutely fine. But notice he plays 3 and with the 2 bass drums. So it's our pattern from previously, as we see on line 2, but he's just moved it from beat 1 to beat 3. 1, 2, 3, and I missed out the bass drum there. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that second bar was simply 1, 2, 3, and 4. Again, he leaves out the floor tom on beat 4, giving his right hand time to then move to a crash cymbal. So we get 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1. Then for the second 2 bars, he moves to the right cymbal, and we get these 2 crashes again. 1, 2. Crash on beat 2 as well. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then 1, 2, 3, and 4. A snare and crash on beat 4. Lots of crash cymbals here. So that first line, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then for the second line, he goes back to the tom pattern we had on the previous page. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Same idea as the line above then. We go into 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. He doesn't play a crash this time on beat 4, that last bar though. And then for the third line, another variation, the simplified version of this tom pattern, which I mentioned earlier on, is where we don't play the bass drum on the and of beat 3, and this is what Bill does for this line. He simply plays 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Much easier to play up to speed. You're not having the 3 and going on with the bass drum. So with all these tom sections, you could play that version if you're finding all the other versions too difficult. Bars 3 and 4, same idea as before. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the last line is just all ride cymbal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. The last bar, however, he plays the bass drum also on beat 2 as well, like he's building up the bass drum. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1. So the bass drum's playing 1, 2, 3, 4 all the way through that bar. Okay, now let me play for you the whole of bridge 4 up to speed. So for chorus 3, starts with the 2 crash cymbals. We're up on the ride cymbal. Bar 4 is the 1, 2, and 3, and 4 version. Bar 8 of that line is the 1, 2, and 3, and 4 version. The next line starts with 2 crash cymbals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then that last bar before going to bridge 5 is 1, 2, 3, 4, and. That symptom's a bit more obvious on the recording. We talked about that bar before, that's what he plays there in bar 4. He then goes into bridge 5, staying on the ride cymbal, and the bass drum pattern changes now. He's now playing 1 and instead of 3 and, so he's swapped down around the bass drums. 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3, 4. Bar 3 starts with a crash, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then bar 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4 and. 1, 2, 3, and 4 and. So it's just simply 1, 2, 3, 4 instead of 1, 2, 3. Just swapped it round. You might find it a bit tricky going from the end of line 2 into bridge 5 because you've got quite a lot of bass drum and snare drums in a row. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 and 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. You got going on there from beat 3 of the last bar of line 2 into bridge 5. So be aware of that. That might throw you off a little bit. Then we go into verse 4, back to loose hi-hats, and the first 3 bars, standard beat, but notice the hi-hat is closed on beat 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That allows the 4th bar to be completely silent. Now on the recording, again, I found the isolated drum track, I can hear that it's been cut. Rather than Bill actually consciously playing, it was just cut. maybe they decided after the recording of the drum part that they wanted to have that break, and so it was edited that way. It's not actually done live on the recording, but that's what you hear. So this is how you replicate it. 1, 2, 3, 4. You could close the hi-hat on beat 1, but it actually closes on beat 4 on the recording. We then just have 1 bar of break, really cool part, and then we're back to 1, 2, 3, 4. So that first line, verse 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Simple as that. The rest of that line is played out. So now let me play for you chorus 3, bridge 5 into verse 4 up to speed. So the rest of the song is really just combinations of parts we've already talked about. So bridge 6 on page 4, on the hi-hats, it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, ends with 1, 2, 3, and 4, and Old Faithful there. Into chorus 4, back to the ride cymbal. Bar 4 has the 1, 2, and 3, and 4 pattern. Bar 8 doesn't. Then the next line, 4 bars of groove. The last bar is 1, 2, 3, 4, and, so that one again. Into bridge 7, staying on the ride cymbal, starts with 2 crash cymbals, and the 5th bar ends with a crash cymbal. We just get 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, because that's where the drums and the rest of the band sort of cut out. It just turns into vocals. So what I've written here underneath it for chorus 5 is the drums re-enter at 3:18. I haven't bothered counting out all the bars of the break. It's just, you'll know from listening to the song or playing along with the recording or with your band when to come back in. The vocals make it obvious. But just be aware that there is a break there between the end of bridge 7 and chorus 5 where I've just simply written drums re-enter at 3:18. So that's when the drums come back in with our chorus 5. Starts with 2 crash cymbals. Bar 4 is our standard. Same with bar 8. The next line ends with 1, 2, 3, 4, and. Done that before. And then bridge 5 is a little bit different. Bill kind of goes a bit more crazy with the bass drum. He's playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So 1 and 3 ands. Both halves of the bar. Notice bridge 5 starts with 2 crash cymbals. If you find these double crash cymbals too hard, leave them out. Just forget the crash cymbals on beat 2, on all the sections we talked about previously. Just have 1 crash cymbal on beat 1. That would be just as good. But on the recording, and then the last bar, very busy, 1 and 2 ands, and then 3 and 4 and. It ends with 3 and 4 ands. So quite a lot of bass drum work going there. If you go, I've mentioned all that before, I won't mention it again. All right, let me now play for you chorus 5 where the drums re-enter into bridge 5 up to speed. So then on page 5, going into chorus 6, our last chorus, up on the ride cymbal, double crash cymbals at the beginning of bars 1 and 5. We've got the basic bar 4 pattern for both bar 4 and bar 8. Second line, notice bar 4 at this time is 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and. He's got the and there on the bass drum. So slight variation there. So that's second line of chorus 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, and 1. And into bridge 6, where I've written here note fade out. This is where the song starts to fade out. And Bill goes straight into those double bass drums again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and before it completely fades out, the last drum fill you hear is that one there again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So quite a busy one because there's a lot of notes going on in that bar. So the last two lines of the song up to speed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2 and 3 and 1. I missed out an extra bass drum there in bar 2, I believe, but there we go. So that's the whole song. It's not really anything complicated going on, it's just the tempo that makes it hard. Leave out the extra bass drum notes if you find that too difficult. Leave out the extra crash cymbals if you find them too difficult. And play around with the floor tom idea we talked about previously as well. Got any questions about any of that? Email me, rob@drumstheword.com. Don't forget to download all 5 pages of the PDF from my website. You'll find a link beneath the video. And while you're there, you might want to consider signing up to become an online member at my website. And what I currently offer for $97 is a full year's online access to every single full video song lesson I've ever recorded and transcribed. And that's coming up to almost 450 famous and popular songs. Just like this lesson, I teach you every single bar from start to finish. You get the fully transcribed PDF drum chart. And like I said, I've got almost 450 songs there on the website already, including a couple of other R.E.M songs, and I'm sure there'll be more added in the future as well. As a thank you for signing up, I'll give you access to even more. I'll give you hundreds of mini videos teaching you many, many famous drum beats, fills, and even drum solos. I'll give you 3 ebooks I've written over the years containing hundreds more famous drum beats, fills, and solos. And then over the year of your subscription, you also gain instant online access to all the new material that I upload for my members. And I record new lessons every week unless I'm ill or on holiday. So you've got a lot of cool stuff to look forward to over the year of your subscription. But if you've got any questions about any of that, email me, rob@drumstheword.com. And until the next drum lesson together, doodle pip and happy drumming to you.